going for their first ever championship as an organization, have never been able to raise that trophy. Would love to stop TL from doing it here today.
Okay, we got to kill these lights. They're going to block.
And in order to
us.
do that, we're going to jump right into the draft phase here. Remember last time around these two teams were playing, Team Liquid still kept up their focus for Umti having either Sejuani or Maokai, one of these frontline tank jungles. The Amumu has entered the arena along with the Sejuani, along with the Maokai as that front line. And Inspired's been the one really leading that charge in North America. FlyQuest truly embraced it. But all of them are up now, so they really will get their pick. And in the last series, we saw Maokai take the lead and become the priority there for their choices.
All right, Smolder, Renekton, Zeri, all banned out by TL. FlyQuest removing the Nasus, the Ziggs, and the Rumble. First pick of the draft, no surprise, we got Corki locked in immediately for APA.
Yep, going to be locking in the Corki here. Ivern is available, has been a priority pick for Inspired. Going to be interesting to see if he goes towards that or towards the Amumu that you've been talking a lot about. Those have been two really big ones for Inspired. He has been so adept at fitting whatever role the team needs. When you think about Inspired in the regular season, it's power farmers, it's Lillia, it's Brand, it's Zyra, it's these sorts of champions. And in playoffs, it has been way more about the supportive role. But here he is locking in the Lillia, which does beg the question, what is the AD pairing going to be mid for quad?
Right.
I'm expecting, something to come out there to really fit with it, but Zeri would be the obvious one. That's been banned away. Smolder's been banned away because that has been some of the big strengths for quad.
Yeah, quad has been very good on the AD carry mid lanes. As well, though, we know he can pull out the Yone, can pull out a lot of the melee versions as well, as far as attack damage threat. So we'll wait and see a little bit deeper. APA hovering some of his past successes. The Kled, by the way, he indeed was a mid-lane Kled main, and so always gets the shout out here. I love it, some of the history, but we don't expect that to come through.
No.
Of course, it's a Corki plus something in the bottom lane. This just looks to be the very standard kind of classic Team Liquid, and honestly, most teams around the world where you go double AD carry with the Maokai Ksante as your front line.
Yeah, if we're talking classic, standard, par for the course, Ksante meets that description in every possible way. That'll be Impact's pick here in this one. And Impact has just been such a standout player throughout the whole split. I expect him, even on something as foundational as Ksante is, to always impress. But Bwipo's got an answer, and it looks like FlyQuest is breaking out the Olaf for game one.
And what a game he had on it yesterday. There it was paired with the Ivern. He was against Sniper, really ran over that game. Had an incredible series, honestly, both on the Rumble and on that Olaf. Really stood out.
And what I start to think of is Enchanter supports now. Since jungle is already locked in, Olaf always does love having some Enchanter on his team. Senna is kind of the premier one, though, and FlyQuest actually ban it out themselves.
And do you worry, though, if they go towards an Enchanter, are you going to have enough hard engage? Are you going to have those go buttons, right? You have the Ashe arrow, but so many players are just rushing towards Mikhail's these days that it makes it really difficult to rely on as your solo form of engage.
With Senna off the board, I think there is now no chance of Enchanter in the support.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, for the side of Team Liquid here, they are banning away the Braum. So, you think CoreJJ is probably going like Leona or Nautilus. Those are some of the melee engaged supports that do get countered by the Braum. So trying to get that out of the way to really open up Core, who has been nothing short of magnificent for Team Liquid, let's be honest.
Yeah.
This guy on the Nautilus or Rel specifically, both in lane and in lane swaps, does so much to control the map.
I mean, it's incredible to say, but both Core and Impact are just having such career years, it feels like, where there's been so much talk about them so deep into their career, reaching even another level. They've been a year full of lane swaps, and they've been such difference makers for the team. They know exactly where to be on the map, when to find those fights. They know their limits precisely, and they have been incredible at setting up the star carries here for TL, APA and Yeon, who have really risen to the forefront as those young superstars.
All right, second half of the bans are done, and it's 3 out of 4 focus on the support role. The Braum, the Senna, the Renata all banned out alongside the Trist. Team Liquid removing the possibility of that being the mid lane choice for quad. We saw Corki Trist so often back at the beginning of this split. Tristana falling out of popularity more recently after multiple nerfs, but FlyQuest on pick number 4. They're going with with that additional engage. They're going with that extra CC. They're going with Leona.
I'm just so interested to see, you know, what are they cooking for mid lane here, because they've seen Corki through the whole draft. They're obviously waiting on a conditional pick here. They're leaving it for that 5th pick mid. They're going to be waiting to see what the entire composition is to try to have something that really rounds out the comp for FlyQuest. If he did want to go towards an AD, there's still things like Lucian, like Ezreal, which are obviously lower priority than those big ones we do see, but still quite strong.
Meanwhile, Yeon is thinking, how do I survive Olaf and Leona coming for my head right now? And so they were hovering the Xayah for a very long time. They opt for the Rakan first here for Core to get that very quick engage. Of course, he has his world champion skin on it. And we'll see if they complete the lovers duo here or if they go with the other option, the Ezreal, the poke plus the safety.
I like this. It's also potentially a little bit of a takeaway there for Quad if he did want to go to one of those ADs mid. This is one of the remaining ones and is a tremendous amount of safety. As you're saying, they have good peel, they have good engage, they can kite back and try to focus down champions like the Lillia, like the Olaf here. They're going to need some consistent DPS on the FlyQuest team. They need something to round it out, and it is going to be dive instead. It's not going to be an AD. It's going to be that mid laner for Quad. Yone coming through, help with the dive alongside the Leona, alongside the Olaf, get in the back line, try to zero out these AD carries.
So this is going to be a fun one because Team Liquid, they have the classic Corki and Ezreal long range double Muramana transformations. Wait for a couple items here with your Trinity Force plus your Muramana to transform to have peak power spike ready to go. Meanwhile, FlyQuest, with their double melee solo laners having the split push options, but having very, very, very good hard engage.
Yeah.
It's the classic like counter to poke is going all in, Ashe arrows plus Leona ultimates to create room here for Quad and Bwipo to follow up.
And I think that's a pretty fun story to follow here to kick off this series, because if we remember when FlyQuest has been in these big moments before, we talk about them, they've never won an LCS title. They've been in the league since 2017. They want to change that here today. When we look at their attempt just last split at making it happen, it was Busio along with the rest of the team falling short in some of those clutch moments, and now they're putting Busio in a spot where he's got the power for that trigger pull to set things up and go for that hard engage. It's a great moment for him to be able to step up and find those angles so those melee carries can shine.
It certainly is. The moment is now, Flowers. Finals on the stage. FlyQuest versus Team Liquid. Your whole year coming down to this.
And right out the gate, the trash talk has already begun from APA. Game 1, Yone, are you sure?
I love it.
He seemed pretty sure. Slammed the lock here on the Yone. Did save it for 5th pick on the red side to fully make sure that they really needed the rest of this hard engage. But you just have so many layers with Ashe Arrow and Leona ultimate into the Yone combination here. It's going to be explosive whether it works or doesn't work for the side of FlyQuest.
And there you all go, in case you didn't believe us. You know, they say that you got to practice like you play, and if you look at the whole season up until this point as practice for the finals, well, APA likes his trash talking, so we'll follow that throughout the series as well, see how that stacks up for these guys. But Massu and the rest of FlyQuest aren't trying anything crazy here at level 1. Neither are Team Liquid. Just line of scrimmage back and forth across the river. Maybe we'll get a very late invade. As Busio and Massu step up here, they're going to find Yeon there in that brush, and he'll retreat slightly.
And we were talking about it, the amount of history that these two teams do have. These orgs have been going at each other over and over and over again in playoffs. TL largely coming out on top, but it's actually the last time that TL lost a series was to FlyQuest in the LCS. It was all the way back in spring in that upper bracket playoff series that they did lose them 3-2. TL has been getting the better of them since then, though.
They certainly have, and getting the better of the entire LCS up until this point. Team Liquid took the upper bracket route in order to get here, not dropping down and needing to fight their way back for a rematch here. Meanwhile, FlyQuest have trained, and they've had to fight their way through the rest of the LCS to earn the right to challenge TL again here.
So, Kobe, let's go ahead and go into one of your favorite places. Let's go into some jungle talk, all right? Where are we expecting to see Umti and Inspired focus their time and attention early on in this game as we're getting a look at all 3 lanes?
I mean, I definitely am expecting multiple clears towards bottom side since both of them start on the top here, which is pretty good news up there for Bwipo on the Olaf. You can see him pushing very early on to get lane control against the Ksante here with his counter pick. And both of the jungles ending up on the bottom side is going to put some pressure on the warding here for Massu and Busio since FlyQuest have 2 side lanes pushing for themselves. Yeah. It does make it so much easier for a Lillia to try and go mess around with the maokai, but usually you're going to have to wait until a couple clears into the game to actually play off that.
Yeah, and with those junglers on the bottom side of the map, it is proxy farming time for the Olaf there in the top lane as CoreJJ could be in a little trouble down here bottom side. Massu and Busio, the duo on FlyQuest. The flashes were simultaneous. CoreJJ escapes as Busio wanted to go for the flash stun to lock him up and guarantee the kill.
Yeah, he had to use his heal as well, and Busio still held on to the Ignite, so there's going to be a lot of kill pressure down there potentially. Core will have to play safe for the next couple of minutes. APA does get interrupted there by Inspired, so the base is stopped. A little bit annoying for him, and is going to help Quad in this lane where he had definitely been behind on pressure.
Now APA valking aggressively there to continue the trade with the Yone. Both of these guys likely to head back to base at the earliest possible convenience, take that first recall, heal up, use the early teleport to get back in lane and have more presence there. You can see APA running a little bit low on mana alongside the health. Quad also pretty low due to that loss of pressure that you're already talking about, Azael.
And the ward that was on the FlyQuest Raptors now disappears, expires, but is still going to be Inspired himself with the earlier recall since he had bot lane priority and got to go bot lane Scuttle Crab. So you're the one you get to get out much quicker onto the map, and he will see the delayed recall here. Oh. Bowling ball, not quick enough.
Yeah, that was really close to actually interrupting him there. So far, just power farming for both of these junglers. Going to be interested to see who makes the first move. You know, you do think with double melee solo laners here on the FlyQuest side, there's more pressure on them to try to make something happen. TL is very comfortable to play it slow, to scale, and to have Umti just answering the plays that FlyQuest looks for.
Fortunately for Bwipo and for FlyQuest, because they did get the exact recall timer on Umti, they should be able to track him and know that he's resetting up to this top side. Since they are aware that he did a top side clear, Bwipo now knows he should have reset after that recall and be back on his Gromp. So comes down, blows his own Scryer's Bloom through the jungle to be able to see the wolves have not yet been taken, and that should be the continued path. So just every like 30 seconds ahead of time, continuing to track where the jungler is going to go and opening up Inspired here to be able to move.
And Bwipo has been showing so much respect over to Impact. You know, this is his opponent in the series. He's coming out hot with game 1. You know, a very aggressive pick here as Inspired is going to get pushed back. And he's going to have to show up because Impact is the great neutralizer. This guy has made an entire career of shutting down carries, of neutralizing picks, and taking over with incredible team fighting.
Certainly is. And counter pick for Bwipo on his Olaf. That was so big for FlyQuest. In their final game yesterday. I mean, that was a really dream scenario to R5, the Olaf, and definitely did pay them back. But it's the little things that we kind of mentioned. You saw on screen there, you know, during the graphic popping up that Inspired was able to take advantage of the vision they got on Umti and the tracking and take away a single Raptor camp. For these jungle matchups, every Raptor camp really does count when the Lillia starts to pull ahead. So continue on tracking here as he works his way towards his Leandries.
Okay, another engage from the FlyQuest duo here in bottom side, though. Busio, again, always looking for those angles and opportunities. Meanwhile, APA under pressure back in the mid lane as Quad will force him back. And now Quad and Inspired will have control over this top side river. You could see that Umti was hard at work grabbing the Void Grubs. He secured the first 2, but the third one's not his. As the Ragnarok to Olaf will not be able to secure a kill onto the Ksante. Back up in the top side. That remaining grub being challenged, being taken by Inspired. Bottom lane, the 2v2 stays spicy, but nothing. Nobody dead on either side. Almost 7 minutes into the game. Everybody's playing it cool.
Yep, they do trade the Ghost there and the ulti from Bwipo for the flash of Impact. He did force that out. Of course, the heal is now back up for CoreJJ in just about a second, so that window is closing on the bottom side for FlyQuest to look for a kill there to utilize the summer advantage that they got in that 2v2.
Meanwhile, Team Liquid, because Impact was able to save his ultimate, you actually have some very rare like kill windows on an Olaf when Olaf doesn't have the ultimate available and it is so early on into the game. If he does have his ultimate, you know, this Olaf is going to be a 2v1 machine, basically, whenever you have tank jungles that have very low damage and rely on CC, like the Zac yesterday, like the Maokai today. But when the Ksante does have ult advantage, there are some small angles you could go for. Umti's actually just hovering here to make sure that Lillia isn't coming to punish Impact, since Impact has no flash and will continue pushing in. And now they actually find him and stop Bwipo under the tower, and they're going to go for it.
Yeah, they want to go for that angle you're talking about, Kobe. Immediately, Impact's ready to start it off. Its first blood over to the LCS MVP.
It's something when you think about it and you're like, well, the flash is a much longer cooldown, so that's a good trade, right? Yeah. My ultimate for his flash goes for the flash, but in saving a Ksante ult, he turns into damage dealer, and you can actually kill an Olaf, and they do it. It's just really nice stuff from TL.
CoreJJ immediately with a flash engage onto Busio. Yeon wants to follow it up, and Team Liquid gets a 2v2 kill bottom lane.
That was perfectly played there from Core and Yeon. The ulti timed as Core comes out of the brush. No chance to react from Busio, and then he's so low. He knows there's no point in flashing. You're going to go down. It's a great set of plays across the map there for TL.
FlyQuest trying to get something back here. Bwipo pushing very quickly to get a turret plate. At least does get that little bit of money, but you're absolutely spot on with multiple TL plays on both sides of the map popping off. And this is because not only did they get their dive successful on top side, but they saw Inspired up there too. So Yeon and CoreJJ, they've been alerted. You can go ham on your 2v2 right out of the brush. We've seen it. We saw it yesterday.
Okay. So, I'm so strong too. Look at my items. Yeah. That's
multiple times these bottom laners doing those brush plays when you think they have recalled, and surprising.
He's so strong too. Look at his items. FlyQuest now trying to force Team Liquid back. A lot of CC and a CoreJJ. Inspired picks up the first kill of the match for FlyQuest.
Yeah, FlyQuest able to hit back there. That was critical for them because not only is it the kill, it lets Inspired start up the dragon here and look to try to take that first big objective for FlyQuest.
FlyQuest did get a single grub earlier after the first two were secured by Umti. So 1 grub plus 1 Drake definitely going to put them at an advantage in terms of these neutrals. It's still 60 seconds until that second pot of grub spawns, so FlyQuest will not have to worry about Team Liquid taking that while they're busy down here. And Busio and Massu still maintaining control over the lane, over the river, to guarantee that Inspired gets it safely.
Yeah, really nicely done by Inspired. The timing window there to go in and punish just after the reset of the TL bottom lane on getting their kills and pushing out their lane to keep this game very interesting. The first game yesterday, I was like, oh man, this is starting to feel fairly similar, where it was like, FlyQuest makes a successful play, and then they make another one on the other side of the map, and they just snowball the game out of control. But this game, already you're seeing the counter punches.
Don't mind me, just going to bring up a nice little graphic here where Impact got first blood. And let's take a look at how TL has done with and without Impact. The MVP not just making a big difference this year with Impact. TL has stacked up the titles, 6 international appearances, 5 titles, 0 without him.
Oh, Massu with the double summoner spells down here underneath the tier 1 turret, cleanse into the flash as soon as CoreJJ went in for the quickness engage. So Massu lives, but now that Ashe is very vulnerable. FlyQuest going for the second set of grubs. They've got a 4-man attempt while Massu is still down bottom lane underneath the tier 1 turret. First grub already secured. Inspired still with total control. Should be able to find the second now without much to do about it from the other side. Okay, no contest, no problem, no issue. That's going to be all 3 of the second set of grubs for FlyQuest. They will have enough for the Void Mites.
Yeah, and the only possible punish there was for the TL bottom lane to try and punish Massu. And since CoreJJ used his flash, they do get both summoner spells off Massu, but critically, the Rookie of the Year stays alive, is able to deal with the rest of the wave as well. So FlyQuest, they get away with sending Busio to those grubs to get their 4 grub buff, their Void Might spawn for later in the game, which is critical because they're the team, remember, that is running the double solo melee laners, trying to get that split push, and trying to get the map under control.
So far, so good for TL. It's a calm game, and I think that's the style that they really excel at. And this is a team that plays the map so well. Everyone around the league gives them so much credit for this. You can see Inspired and Busio trying to hover quad here in mid lane, but Core does show up first to help make sure APA is safe.
Yeah, Quad seeing if he might have been able to set something up there with a Q3, but that one will not connect. And I think it's interesting how you can see Team Liquid is slightly ahead in every role except for jungle. But Inspired has been farming up a Storm here on the Lillia. Both of these players in the jungle do have their first items completed, but it's a support item, a Locket for the side of the Maokai, the full Leandries for the Lillia, while the engage from Umti finds Busio, but that's a pretty tanky target. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot more to get out of that one, so Busio can just walk it off.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised he actually committed the flash there, you know, obviously underestimating how tanky he was, but now they're going to look to try to threaten the dive. There's no cleanse.
Yeah, they are not done yet. That AShe still has no summoner spells. The True Shot Barrage flies out. They need a little bit more lockdown, but they ain't gonna find it. Team Liquid with a sloppy dive gets nothing.
Yeah, not able to actually punish there on the dive. They hit the Maokai ulti, but Busio did a good job actually peeling, and Umti didn't commit fully to it. He just held the tower aggro, but they didn't have enough damage because Busio was just blocking these Ezreal Qs that were coming through from Yeon.
Again, the FlyQuest bottom lane defending here. In the end, they do have to recall, so they're going to be at least one tower exposed. You rotate Quad down to bottom, which means Inspired rotates over to handle the wave on a mid lane tower, which APA actually got in there, but they don't give up an extra turret plate, so nice little rotation to cover even the loss of pressure there. With their bottom lane being forced to recall, they're still able to keep TL off those turret plates.
All right, gentlemen, we got about 30 seconds before the Rift Herald spawns. We've got a little bit over a minute until the next Drake spawns. I'm hoping we get to see some fights over these because it's been a pretty low kill game, but the gold is neck and neck between the two teams.
And from the side of TL, you know, they have one of their Trinity forces. They're still waiting on the Ezreal Trinity force. And then, of course, they're really looking towards the Muramana transforms a bit later into the game. But, you know, Bwipo, he loves scaling on Olaf too. He went with the Cull. He has actually already popped his Cull into the full stride breaker completion as well. So that game plan will be fully operational shortly.
Yeah, TL really setting up vision here down on this bottom side, taking away this quadrant in preparation for this dragon that is going to be up here in 30 seconds. Busio trying to defend his fake, but not able to do it. TP's coming in.
The TP from FlyQuest. They want to catch Umti. They know that he has no flash because he tried to use it earlier on Busio down in the bottom lane. There is no way out for this Maokai. It's just up to who they want to give the kill over to. Umti still just trying to spend as much of their time as he can, but Inspired takes him out.
FlyQuest don't have TP on Quad though either, so with Bwipo teleporting down, they're actually going to leave open the top tower, and you can see in the picture-in-picture here, Impact is getting some payment, but still, that is a very, very free kill for FlyQuest into a timer that is on second dragon.
He gets the full tower though. He has his Iceborne completed, so he has that Sheen proc. He's actually working it down. Yes, it's a Ksante. Yes, it's not the fastest at killing those towers, but you give him enough time, he'll get the job done. So it is the TP, it is that one kill and the dragon, but they lose an entire turret to Impact on the top side.
And once again, our gold is right back around that even spot. 15.5 minutes into the game. FlyQuest, however, does command the lead of the 2 Drakes and 4 Grubs. So coming out on top in the neutral game so far, as the Rift Herald is still alive on the map. You can see that Team Liquid is getting the push in mid. They have the push in top right now. We'll see if they can convert that into a Herald take, as Bwipo and APA are both still posted up down here in the bottom lane. Bwipo popping the ghost, going after APA. Ragnarok is used, but APA flashes out, so now Bwipo's also looking to make his exit. CoreJJ locking him up, Umti following up, APA shooting him down, and Bwipo will fall.
Nice trap from TL, and notice that they do have teleport on APA, so the top tower, they won't make the same choice of actually giving up top tower. They can just teleport the Corki over there. Nice trap from TL. They defend APA, they play off the aggressiveness of FlyQuest, and immediately punish.
And this is that tough part about playing a champion like Olaf. You have to hard commit to these types of plays to be able to get anything done. You can't just play it slow and play it cautiously at all times. He does go in for the kill, but gets heavily punished for it. At the very least, they got the flash off of APA, and that could be something they can look towards at this next dragon spawn, because TL probably doesn't want to give up 3 straight dragons. Maybe Busio or Inspired can look for some sort of a flash onto APA to set themselves up for that 3rd dragon.
Rift Herald will be a very useful tool in taking down that mid lane turret here for Team Liquid. Again, trying to work up their double AD carries that will be poke menaces towards the mid game here. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, that fed Impact. The very fed Ksante, a little bit stronger than usual, so you have to be a little bit wary, but Yone's not worried. As soon as you have Blade of the Rune King, you're kind of a god into tanks.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is going to be tough, I think, to deal with him in those 5v5s. Sure, Inspired is going to deal a lot of damage. He has a lot of farm. He's gotten both the kills for FlyQuest, but Inspired doesn't want to be spending his time hitting Impact. And if Impact is just getting hit by Massu, by Bwipo, by Quad, in their face, really making their jobs difficult, he's going to be a bit of a brick wall.
Well, the thing is, Inspired has everything he needs for a huge Lillia play. Flash is up, Seeker's Arm Guard is purchased, he's got his Leandries for the threat of the damage being significant. This guy could have a huge moment, and I think everybody on Team Liquid needs to be aware of that Lillia's position whenever they are preparing to take any sort of objective.
And because of their comp, the FlyQuest are kind of the drivers of the action in this game. They rotate everybody towards the top side. Meanwhile, TL looking for the dive.
Yet again, they saw Quad try to clear out the wave so they wouldn't be able to find some kind of a dive, but it does not deter Team Liquid as Yeon survives the counterpunch over in mid lane, attempted from Busio and Massu. Yeon still slinging those mystic shots, trying to defend the tier 1 turret as Shelly's going to get drove straight into the tier 2 down in bottom lane with APA for some extra damage. Team Liquid pulling out ahead.
Yeah, it's a really nice play there from TL. They weren't deterred. Quad spent the ultimate to just clear out the wave here, hoping that would actually buy himself some time, but they had the Rift Herald. They drop it over the wall, and they just forced the play, knowing no one else can really come down there to respond.
And we have the reset in the aftermath. Really nice use of the Rift Herald. Did like that from TL to get themselves towards this mid-game spike that they're looking for. Now it's just one outer tower that FlyQuest have as far as defense. And it's going to get harder for, Bwipo and Quad in the side lanes. Bwipo's ult is ready, and his flash will be up, or his ghost will be back soon. But Quad, as you mentioned, punished pretty heavily there, though he will have his flash as well. They want to be able to use it offensively. Dream scenario for FlyQuest is they get their Ashe arrow into Leona charge for the grouping, but we've got some jungle takeover here, and you can already see some pesky Team Liquid wards making their way in.
And this is one of the most annoying parts about TL. Whenever these guys get ahead, it's constantly just time for the two supportive members of the team in Umti and CoreJJ to suffocate you off the map while everybody else free farms.
And it's even more annoying when you're playing against Triel, because they have the maokai saplings in every single brush. They're the best team in the league at taking over the enemy jungle, at taking away those resources, forcing difficult decisions. Do you face check into the dark there? Do you actually risk getting engaged on by TL? Because that is how they have killed so many teams. And if you don't, well, guess what? They're taking away all your jungle camps. They're getting ahead in experience. They're getting ahead in gold, and they're creating leads that you can't match elsewhere on the map.
FlyQuest still just trying to defend their own territory here. 2 seconds until Baron makes its way onto the map, but with not even 1,000 gold separating the teams, we're probably not going to see a 20-minute Baron here in this one, as FlyQuest and Team Liquid are both setting up for this next Drake. If FlyQuest gets it, they'll be at Soul Point, but Team Liquid has control over the bot side river to start.
My eyes are on APA, 2-item power spike Corki. He's done such a good job getting so much money for this fight.
Yeon taking some damage pretty swiftly here from Quad. CoreJJ trying to counterattack with the ulti. As the Maokai ult used for the defense, Busio wants to drop the solar flare. Bwipo coming around from the side, wants to try to get past Impact, going into the back, looking for Yeon. There goes the Viking, he's on a rampage. FlyQuest just caught 3 of them. A double kill for Bwipo, and they are not done. Inspired using the ETH to reposition after they might have caught him out just a little bit. FlyQuest with a 3 for nothing. FlyQuest with a tier 1. FlyQuest going for a 21-minute Baron.
Forget the dragon, go straight for Baron. FlyQuest dive pays off.
That was such a good angle there from Bwipo. No hesitation, comes around the side. They'd already forced out early cooldowns from Yeon. He had nothing left to get away from Bwipo there. And what a start to this one for FlyQuest. That's just what they were hoping for.
Multiple angles utilized here by FlyQuest. Nice engage for them. They know they have to break these double AD carries now in the mid game before the poke has a chance to take effect. And Quad from this top side actually takes all the attention. CoreJJ uses Rakan ultimate, uses everything up there, and Bwipo comes up through the jungle.
And I love that Quad saved his ulti for that moment. He did not panic in that earlier play. He flashes over the wall, Q3, ulti over the top. So not only do they kill the Ezreal, they get APA at the same time. When Teal is running this style of composition, you lose your AD carries, you lose the fight. It's as simple as that.
Beautiful stuff from Quad.
He's dead. Ezreal's dead. Okay, I'm going in hard.
Ksante,
Going,
Ksante.
yo, Corki. Going next. More.
Go next.
Okay, I'm done.
He was going in hard. This dude it was a full send from Bwipo.
And that was that flash that we were highlighting from Quad, wanting to save it, wanting to use it offensively. That made all the difference in being able to get that CC lock, the knock-up into knock-up. So Bwipo leading the charge, and the rest of the team coming over the top gets them not only the Baron, but also keeps them on pace in their dragon stacking towards this soul. FlyQuest, this is a brand new FlyQuest. This is not the same FlyQuest that Team Liquid have been defeating.
This FlyQuest is warmed up after their series yesterday. They seem like they are locked in. Excellent team fight there to really break open the game for the first time so far in this game one.
And one of my favorite things about a best of 5 is the adaptation, game to game. You know, when you can bring out a new pick, you totally change how you have to approach the series from the other side. Bwipo obviously showcased the Olaf yesterday, but you come out against TL, you have a great game number 1. Now that's always going to be in the back of your mind going forward.
So you're telling me his 9 games of Renekton in a row was all to lull the ruse, lull them into the false sense of confidence. And the trap has been sprung. Now 1 auto on this tower, that's more money into the Olaf solo tower gold. He's already got his full team fighting kit with the Sterix gauge completed. So plenty of tankiness there, and now with this Baron buff, we'll continue to track, but FlyQuest stocks continue to rise. As TL, they try and cross-map. They know they're a little bit outgunned in the item department now, so they're giving away some of the stuff on the bottom side of the map, you know, control of their red quadrant jungle, and they're just trying to have APA at least get those minions on top side.
That being said, while the gold lead is significant, it's almost all on Inspired. So if Inspired isn't there, or if he doesn't have a good fight, you know, it's not really going to amount to that much. He does still have that Secrets available, now has the Riftmaker completed as well. So this guy is monstrously strong, and he is a known team fighter. That is the big reason he won MVP across multiple regions.
And it's the luxury of the Lillia here into your maokai. It's 3 levels on top of all this extra
Flame
gold.
Horizon incoming.
Oof. It's so fun to be the power clearing Lillia here, but he has been very good all playoffs long with his pathing, really setting up his team's early win conditions as far as the lanes that he needs to support, as well as playing to whichever champion he is playing. If it's Ivern, don't have to farm so much, doesn't have to have his CEO of full clear title on, and plays a little bit more, but when you're Lillia, that is the goal.
And I'm really liking the fact that we have those anti-burst items on both of these diving melee carries in Bwipo and Quad. The Sterix completed, the Immortal Shieldbow completed. They both understand that their survivability is through drain tanking, through lifesteal. They also both understand that if they die, well, all of a sudden the team fight screeches to a halt. I think this is really good here.
And while we have talked a lot about impact, Bwipo has been chasing another finals, a big win for so long. You know, he did get some of them back with Fnatic, but since then it has been second after second after second after second. You know, across regional play as well as even the World Finals, he went there, another second place. You know, he is chasing that title. He even spoke about feeling that, you know, hey, you could have subbed in any top laner on Fnatic and they still would have won that title. So he wants to be a difference maker. He wants to be a reason that he hoists that trophy at the end of the day. And he's definitely being a massive difference maker here in game 1.
Yeah, and some of the previous games in playoffs we saw from FlyQuest, some of the games that they actually lost, you know, he got a little bit over anxious, it almost looked like, and over aggressive in some of the engages, but last series, he was extremely calm, extremely collected. Well, he might be a little bit cursed now. It's fine. Is just going to walk through the river here. We were close to a caster curse, but he's able to avoid it. And Bwipo has really been a strong rock for this team.
Ooh, flash from APA. The arrow from Massu forcing that summoner spell out. APA has no QSS. There is one available on Quad on the other side, but considering Team Liquid is just behind in terms of money, they're not going to enjoy those same quality of life upgrades. We've got 1 minute left on the clock until 2 very important buffs spawning at the same time. The Baron coming back, as well as what will be Mountain Soul for FlyQuest.
I mean, this is going to be such a hard fight for APA. He is 16, he does have 2 items, that's great, but you have no cleanse, you have no Mikhails to back you up, you have no flash, you have no QSS. So there's so many tools that FlyQuest have where if they hit, you know, even a sleep from Lillia, a stun from AShe, a stun from Leona, you are probably just dead.
And there's so many things that Team Liquid have to mark when they're thinking about the approach to this team fight. as we saw last time, it's Quad from one side, Bwipo from the other side, and Leona as well. Just the range on the ultimate makes it very easy to set either of those flankers up with some CC to support their damage. So, Impact, Umti, and CoreJJ have a very difficult job in trying to mark multiple approaches to their team fight, to protect their backline.
And I think that job gets even harder when you don't have anyone on your team who can win the 1v1s against the solo laners on the other team, right? It's not like you can just put Impact there and he can just brawl it out with someone. You're going to lose that fight. So it becomes incredibly difficult.
Yeah, the Olaf just kind of can run past you, so very difficult to keep them out and very difficult to deal with them head-to-head. Meanwhile, they're actually just losing objectives now at this dragon. The tower's been taken by Quad, who continues to split push.
Yeah, Quad's not backing away. That's the important part. He's putting damage into the tier 3. They are forcing Team Liquid to make a move. Quad wants to join the fight now. TL still grouped up in the middle of everybody, but they're caught in the flank set by FlyQuest. Bwipo running into the back of everybody. Quad coming around from the side with the soul unbound, ready to jump into the middle with a fate sealed. And APA is already down. Bwipo's on a killing spree. Umti and CoreJJ are left to the Wolves, and the Wolves howl for FlyQuest. It's a massacre in the bot side river. Team Liquid can't compete. FlyQuest is tearing through them in these team fights.
It is just art from FlyQuest, beautifully set up. They do not rush at the dragon. They put the pressure onto Team Liquid with their split push. Quad teleports in from the bottom, and they trap TL inside doom.
They have been punishing these missing summoners so well. APA stood no chance. They push him back. He uses the Valkyrie. That's the only tool you have. Immediately, both of these soul laners pounce. They get right on him. He's down. Sure, Yeon stays safe, but it's not enough damage to get through this FlyQuest that is so far ahead now.
And look at the attempts to peel. It's so difficult. CoreJJ is going to use everything to go and stop Quad this time, but Bwipo just pops the Olaf ultimate and he gets right into the back line. Here's another look at it. Him right on top of APA, and although CoreJJ is able to stop the follow-up, it doesn't matter. They have plenty of damage there following through. And on the other side, as you mentioned with Busio and Inspired there, taking care of the front line, it is just a wipe for TL. FlyQuest cleaning Summoner's Rift in this one. Game number 1 looks to be fully in their control.
And it's a great fight from Busio. Started off, hit the Leona all onto APA, gets in there, stops the TP out from Impact. He's performing really well in game 1 of the finals, which was one of those questions people had. People felt that he crumbled a bit in the spring finals against TL. People felt that he crumbled at MSI. And the question was, would you be able to step up to the level that's required of you on a big stage? So far, the answer is yes.
I mean, he's 0-1-8 in a game where his team has 9 kills. It's hard to do a whole lot better than that. As FlyQuest now with a nearly 9,000 gold lead, now with a Mountain Soul, now with Baron on the Rift again. This map is theirs, and Team Liquid is one lost fight away from a loss in game 1.
Nobody on FlyQuest was trash talking in all chat, so Twitch chat had to do it for them. They were trying to throw APA's words back at him. Honestly, I think FlyQuest members might have them all muted. With how focused they have been in this game. They did not respond at all. They're all business.
That is the #1 thing a coach has to do when you're going up against APA. It's not the draft ref, it's mute all.
Mute all. You gotta adapt to your opponent. You got to be ready for each individual situation, and the situation is controlled in totality by FlyQuest here in this first game. They're going to go ahead and start up the Baron. They will dare Team Liquid to try to come over and do something about it. The True Shot Barrage is going to see Baron down to about 5,000 HP, but nobody from TL is getting anywhere near that pit. It's another FlyQuest Baron as they break the 10,000 gold lead mark.
The experience difference between these two supports is so stark. Busio was the most valuable prospect only a year or two ago. He's come up into the LCS and has been making such an impact for this team so quickly. Core, on the other hand, has been around forever. Look at the total games played. 7 times the amount of games played there by Core, a world champion, even started his career way back as an AD carry. So it is pretty insane, but both of them really rising to the occasion so far.
And it's just nice to see the execution of this comp from FlyQuest. Here we go. TL looking for something.
Yeah, they fire off the Nature's Grasp. It hits Busio, and Busio alone doesn't even really damage him past a shield. That's a pretty big tool for Team Liquid to no longer have available, as immediately Bwipo's jumping in onto Yeon again, but he's not going to find the mark this time. What he's doing is creating space for the tier 2 turret to be taken out, for Team Liquid to have to scramble and try to protect their backline as FlyQuest continues forcing them back behind their own walls.
Bwipo didn't even care about the tower. He tanked about 5 shots there. Already has the Jack show. He's so tanky, and they're looking to finish this one off.
FlyQuest going past the tier 3. The arrow lands on APA. Busio puts up his shield to lead the charge as Team Liquid can do nothing but run. The engage continues, and CoreJJ and Umti are both down. APA forced back into the fountain. He and Yeon trying to recover. Impact goes all out, just trying to buy a little bit more time, but time is too expensive. Impact is about to fall to Bwipo. He flashes over the wall to dive to the undertow as Quad goes into the fountain. He'll trade his life for the kill on Yeon, as the rest of FlyQuest will finish off the Nexus turrets and finish off game 1.
What a start here for FlyQuest, and Inspired finally getting involved at the end. Lillia open, LOL, hitting them with it, letting them know. Got the Flame Horizon, was a massive difference maker. Finished the game at level 18 on the Lillia, and FlyQuest were on fire in this first game.
They absolutely smashed
Bwipo's feeling
them.
it. Look at that man. He is happy about that performance.
Well played, well-deserved smiles on the side of FlyQuest.
All right, game 1 was a banger. FlyQuest came out swinging.